Returned to action, but pulled off the track at the midway point of the moto and were no shows.
The 1980s was a decade where the market for heavy-duty, big single trail bikes was completely dominated by Japanese manufacturers. You had Honda with their reliable NX650 Dominator, Suzuki with the rugged DR650, and Yamaha with the proven XT600. However, right in the middle of that booming market, there was an Italian underdog willing to challenge the established giants. A lot of folks initially brushed this bike off, assuming it would just be background noise in the unforgiving African deserts. They were completely wrong. This machine actually managed to outpace highly funded factory prototypes in one of the most demanding endurance events on the planet, the Paris-Dakar Rally. Do you want to know the history of this Italian motorcycle that managed to outclass multi-million-dollar factory prototypes in the grueling Paris-Dakar using clever mechanical tricks, while also hiding a spectacular story of a prototype failure? This is the Gilera RC600. Gilera was definitely not a newcomer to the motorcycle world. Founded all the way back in 1909 by Giuseppe Gilera in the town of Arcore, Italy, the manufacturer had a rich racing heritage, famously dominating the 500 cubic centimeter Grand Prix circuit in the 1950s and taking home 6 world titles. However, after being acquired by the Piaggio Group in 1969, their focus shifted heavily towards smaller displacement bikes and scooters. By the time the late 1980s rolled around, the market was absolutely obsessed with large displacement desert cruisers inspired by the Dakar Rally. Gilera wanted a piece of that action. They wanted to prove that Italian engineering could hold its own in the dirt and sand. The main issue was that to compete with the 600 cubic centimeters plus Japanese bikes setting the standard, Gilera only had a 500 cubic centimeter engine in their lineup, specifically the 492 cubic centimeter power plant used in their Dakota and Saturno models. Trying to compete against a 650 cubic centimeter Honda Dominator with a 500 cubic centimeter engine seemed incredibly optimistic. While the 500 cubic centimeter Gilera engine put out a respectable 44 horsepower at 7,250 revolutions per minute, it lacked the low-end torque needed to plow through deep desert sand. From a marketing standpoint, it was also a tough sell. Why would a rider buy a 500 cubic centimeter trail bike when, for a similar price, they could get a much larger 650 cubic centimeter engine from a Japanese brand? So, how did they fix this? Designing a brand new 600 cubic centimeter engine from scratch was out of the question. It would have been way too expensive and taken far too much research and development time. This is where Gilera's engineers pulled off a brilliant mechanical and marketing maneuver. They took the existing 500 cubic centimeter engine block and increased the cylinder bore by 6 millimeters, taking it from 92 millimeters up to 98 millimeters, while keeping the stroke exactly the same at 74 millimeters. The result of this simple modification was a new displacement of 557.9 cubic centimeters. With just that bore increase, they squeezed out extra torque and bumped the power up to about 48 horsepower. Most importantly, hitting that 558 cubic centimeters mark gave them the perfect, legitimate excuse to slap a 600 sticker on the side panels. In 1989, the Gilera RC600 was officially born. The RC stood for Regolarità Casa, a traditional and proud designation Gilera gave to their dedicated off-road machines. If you were to tear into the Bi-4 or Bialbero 4 Tempi engine of the RC600, you would quickly realize it was not your average trail bike power plant. The engine was originally designed by Cesare Bossaglia, a legendary engineer famous for developing flat engines for Alfa Romeo cars. Because of his background, the engine's architecture shared some interesting similarities with automotive design. The engine was a liquid-cooled, 4-stroke single-cylinder featuring dual overhead camshafts and 4 valves. It had a compression ratio of 9.5 to 1, but the most surprising feature was the camshaft drive. Instead of using a traditional metal timing chain found on almost every other motorcycle, Gilera used a toothed synthetic rubber timing belt, just like you would find in a car engine. Then there was the fascinating fuel delivery system. The engine breathed through two TK carburetors. The primary carburetor had a 27mm choke tube, while the secondary vacuum carburetor was slightly larger at 28.4mm. The mechanics behind this were incredibly smart for the time. Today, we are used to electronic ride-by-wire systems that smooth out throttle response. Back in 1989, Gilera achieved a similar feel mechanically. The primary carburetor opened directly with the throttle cable, providing incredibly smooth and manageable power at low speeds. However, once the engine climbed past roughly 3,500 revolutions per minute, the secondary vacuum-operated carburetor would open up. The exhaust note would change into a deep, aggressive roar, and the bike would surge forward with impressive acceleration. This setup allowed the 558 cubic centimeter engine to deliver strong, reliable power. To handle the intense vibrations typically associated with large single-cylinder engines, Gilera included a gear-driven balance shaft. Because of this, even though it was a rugged off-road machine, cruising on the highway at high speeds felt remarkably smooth, without leaving the rider's hands numb. The design of the RC600 was handled by the brilliant Italian designer Luciano Marabese. While competitors like the Honda Dominator looked a bit bulky around the fuel tank, Marabese went with a strict form-follows-function philosophy. The bodywork featured clean, squared-off lines, and the fuel tank integrated seamlessly into the front fairing, keeping the overall profile incredibly slim. This slender shape was intentional. It gave the rider maximum mobility to shift their weight around while standing on the pegs during intense off-road riding. The chassis was built around a strong, square-section tubular steel single cradle frame, which actually used the engine as a stressed member to increase overall rigidity. The bike was remarkably light for its class, weighing in at just around 310 pounds dry. The suspension was equally serious. Up front, it featured 40mm Marzocchi telescopic forks, offering over 9 inches of travel. In the rear, Gilera utilized their power drive progressive linkage system paired with a Bogue monoshock, providing over 10 inches of travel. The bike sat very high off the ground with a seat height pushing 35 inches. If you were an average-sized rider, coming to a stop at a red light definitely required a bit of a balancing act. It rolled on a dirt-ready 21-inch front wheel and a 17-inch rear wheel, stopped by Brembo brakes featuring a 260mm floating disc up front and a 220mm disc in the back. The bike's most iconic feature is its face, twin round headlights tucked behind a protective metal grille. Funny enough, rather than spending a fortune on custom rally parts, Gilera simply used small, highly effective headlights straight from a Volkswagen Passat. This smart move allowed bulky navigation instruments to be mounted lower on the dash, giving riders a perfectly clear view of the trail ahead. By 1990, Gilera management wanted to prove exactly what their new machine could do. At that time, the ultimate proving ground for any off-road vehicle was the Paris-Dakar rally. Led by racing manager Gianni Perini and technical director Federico Martini, Gilera put together a factory team. Rather than spending millions building a prototype from the ground up, they made the bold choice to enter the RC600 in the Silhouette class, also known as the Marathon Amélioré category. The rules for this class were incredibly strict. The bike had to use the main frame and engine block from the mass-produced showroom model, and replacing the engine during the event was strictly forbidden. To prep the stock RC600 for Africa, the team drastically bumped up the fuel capacity with 3 custom tanks holding around 15 gallons. Since this pushed the bike's fully loaded weight over 450 pounds, they upgraded the rear suspension to a heavy-duty Öhlins shock. They even got clever with the rally rules, hiding the mandatory emergency drinking water right inside the engine bash plate to keep the center of gravity as low as possible. 2 riders were chosen for the task: the highly experienced Luigino Medardo and a 22-year-old rookie named Roberto Mandelli. When the rally kicked off, few expected the near-stock Gilera to make waves, but the African terrain proved otherwise. The 560 cubic centimeter engine offered incredible traction and bulletproof reliability. While heavier Japanese twins bogged down in the deep sand of the Niga Pass, rookie Mandelli smoothly navigated his RC600 to a stage win using just a manual roadbook and a marine compass, with his teammate Medardo right behind him. A near-stock single-cylinder bike had actually outrun the expensive factory prototypes. By the end of the 1990 rally, Medardo took 8th overall and won the silhouette class, while Mandelli finished 11th, instantly putting Gilera on the map in the adventure riding community. Riding high on that success, Gilera felt invincible. For the 1991 Dakar, they refined the RC600 further, increasing the radiator size by 30% to handle the extreme heat and tweaking the engine with racing cams and a progressive ignition bumping the output closer to 60 horsepower. Medardo won the silhouette class once again, finishing 7th overall. However, ambition often leads to overreach. The management at Piaggio and Gilera decided that to completely dominate the rally and take the overall win from the massive twin-cylinder machines, they needed a much bigger engine. Under Federico Martini's direction, they developed the Gilera RC750R in 1992. The RC750 was a pure, highly strung prototype. The engine was enlarged to 742 cubic centimeters using a massive 105mm piston. The engine blocks were sand-cast, and the development costs were astronomical, reportedly around €250,000 per bike. When the RC750R was unleashed at the 1992 Paris-Cape Town rally, it became a tough lesson for the team. The engine produced over 70 horsepower, but that explosive power put immense strain on the transmission and internal components. In the punishing desert environment, its mechanical fragility became obvious. Factory rider Franco Pico suffered a hard crash early on, breaking his arm, and Luigino Medardo experienced a series of mechanical failures that eventually forced him to retire from the race entirely. The deep irony of that year was that Carlos Sotelo and Roberto Mandelli, who were riding the simpler production-based RC600s, finished the race with very few issues. Sotelo finished 8th overall and won his class, while Mandelli finished 15th. It was a glaring realization for the company. The straightforward, rugged reliability of their standard 600 cubic centimeter production bike was far superior for endurance racing than their incredibly expensive prototype. Responding to consumer feedback that the original RC600 was a bit too tall and aggressive for the average rider, Gilera split the lineup in 1991 into two distinct models. The first was the RC600C, often referred to as the Cobra. The frame was revised to lower the seat height, making it much more approachable. The bodywork was beautifully redesigned with a sweeping front fairing that vaguely resembled a Cobra's hood, making it an excellent dual sport for longer touring rides. The front suspension was changed to conventional 43mm Kayaba telescopic forks, bringing the front end down slightly and improving road manners. The second variant was the RC600R, or Racing. This was the uncompromising, hardcore off-road version. Weight was stripped down to an impressive 304 pounds. It featured massive 46mm Kayaba upside-down forks and an 18-inch rear wheel to accommodate proper motocross tires. Engine power was slightly bumped to 53 horsepower through a more aggressive exhaust and camshaft profile. Interestingly, tight research funds led to something completely unexpected. Technical director Federico Martini simply took the frame, swing arm, and engine from the street-friendly Cobra model and bolted on 17-inch cast alloy wheels with sticky street tires. Released in 1991 as the Gilera Nordwest 600, this clever parts-bin project paired dirt bike torque with street bike grip. Born out of necessity and Italian creativity, the Nordwest was years ahead of its time and is now widely considered the very first factory-produced supermoto. Unfortunately, the brilliance of the bi-4 engine and the RC series was cut short. Increasingly strict European emissions regulations combined with major corporate restructuring within the Piaggio Group led to the historic Arcor factory closing its doors in 1993.